My lovely. So I wanted to hop on today after last night's announcement, and I know it's going to bring up some anxiety for many of you. And I think now we are kind of used to this whole experience. Where in the UK, it's what, lockdown number three, and some areas have had lockdown for longer again. But it's more the longevity of it potentially. It's it could be another 6 weeks until we are able to do more than we've been able to do. So I wanted to come on today to give you some top tips on how to stay grounded during this time, this lockdown anxiety that is a new thing that we coined in 2020 and is now something that we have to deal with, and the anxiety it brings up. So as you're hopping on, say hello, let me know you're here. I can see little numbers coming on. So I just want to give you some tips so that you can go away from this with some information to feel better. Know that you can come here in this group and share and talk, or send me a message, ask me questions. If you need to reach out for support, do so, because I think one good thing that has come from this craziness that has been happening since last year is that people are coming together more. There is seemingly more humanity on the world, in the planet now, because people are looking after each other more. So, but please do reach out if you need the extra support, because that's what I'm here for. That's what this group is here for. So, my top tips. Number one, I want you to give your anxiety a date. So, if you suffer with anxiety, live with anxiety, manage anxiety, however you term it, or if lockdown has created an anxiety in you, because it has done that for a lot of people, maybe people that weren't experiencing anxiety before, and life has literally been taken out of your control in a lot of areas. So, of course, it's going to bring about these sensations. You don't know how to deal with them. So, if you're experiencing anxiety, I want you to give your anxiety a date. Now, imagine your anxiety is some really hot partner that you'd love to go on a date with, and you're going to have a date. It sounds like a counterintuitive thing because anxiety doesn't bring about pleasurable sensations, and you want to make a date with it. It can seem confusing, right? But the focus of this is to give your anxiety the time to be at its full blown experience. So when my anxiety was really bad, it would take over my whole day, my whole week, my whole life. I lost years to my anxiety. And one of the tricks that I really found worked for me was giving it a day and time. Now, if anxiety is something you're living with every day, you're going to need to do this once a day, perhaps more than once a day. You can determine it. If you're not sure, you can reach out and ask me. I'm here for the questions that you've got. You can comment on this video if you want to. But I would give it a time slot. So say, for example, you're going to make it 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're going to give it 10 minutes. 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour. I would cap it at an hour. I think that's a bit long. I really, ideally, would probably cap it at half an hour. And in that time, you're just going to let your anxiety run, and whatever comes to you, so thoughts, feelings, emotions, concerns, worries, all of it. If you can, write it down, but just sit with it. Allow your anxiety to talk to you, because I always found that anxiety was like a toddler. It would want to get your attention. The more you bat it away, the louder it gets. So you need to give it time, like any relationship with anything. And if you are living with anxiety, it is a relationship that you have, and you give it that time and that space to be heard, then what you'll find is that your anxiety throughout the day quietens down a bit. It might take a little bit of practice to get it to quieten down enough. But if it knows, if you imagine your anxiety is a being, if it knows it's going to be heard, it's going to be understood, and it's going to be listened to, it can wait until 3 o'clock this afternoon. If you are constantly batting it away, trying to pretend it's not there, imagining that anything else is going on, distracting yourself, which was my technique for the first couple of years of anxiety. I'm just going to distract myself to high heaven. I spent loads of money. I went out all the time. I was distracting myself. That will only work for so long, and it doesn't really work. It doesn't deal with what's going on underneath. So if you give it time, you give it a date, you make it a priority, you give it importance, you hear it. You as a person want to be heard, understood, listened to have time with those that you love. Your anxiety is like a toddler, like a pet. It needs attention. So if you give it that time and you specify, so you take back some control in this, can you see how you're going to get some control back out of this situation? Because you're going to go, okay, I'm going to put it in my diary and do it. In your diary, whether there's a written diary or on your phone, that at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I'm giving my anxiety half an hour. And in that half an hour, anxiety, you can do what you want. You can talk to me and you can say whatever you want, but I'm giving it half an hour. And then once you've given it that time slot, I'm going to give you a little exercise that I want you to do after every date with your anxiety, because what you're then going to do with this exercise is get back into your body, get back into the present moment, because anxiety means you live here, here. You're stuck in between these two fingers all the time. Often you're stuck in the past or the future, usually the future. You're worrying about what might happen, the uncertainty, the unknown, having no control. You're not in your present moment. So once you have allocated your anxiety a date and a time, I then want you to work through this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 process. So you sit with yourself and you can say it out loud or in your mind, and you list 5 things that you can see around you. So what's in your actual local vicinity, wherever you are, whether you're in your bedroom, in your garden, wherever you are, what is around you. Then you list 4 things that you could touch. Try and make them different to the 5 things that you could see. So things that are closer to you that you actually could pick up and touch. Then 3 things that you can hear. So what sounds are around you? Can you hear birds? Can you hear the parrots in the background? Can you hear your children? And then 2 things that you can smell. So what scent is in the air? Can you smell your own perfume? Can you smell some cooking from somewhere? And then 1 thing that you can taste. So the cup of tea you've just been drinking, can you taste that? And in this process of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what you're doing is you're getting back into your body. Anxiety tends to dislocate your mind-body connection, and it makes you stuck in your mind, and you lose that embodied nature where you are in your body processing and being present every moment. That is how I ended up getting into the more spiritual realm of things, because I wanted to feel like myself on this planet, but that's another story for another time. So this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise will get you back into your body, back into your surrounding, back into your present moment, away from your anxiety. So that's the first tip. I want you to make a date with your anxiety and then work through that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise after that date to get you out of that anxious state, because you are going, okay, anxiety, I'm going to give you time. I'm going to give you this amount of time at this time of the day. X amount of times a day if you want to. Cap it at 3 or 4 if you can, or once a day or once every couple of days. It depends on how much anxiety you are experiencing. And then after that, I'm going to get on with my day. And there may be moments where it comes back to you, those thoughts and those anxieties and concerns, but you remind yourself that you've got the next date with your anxiety at whatever time it is. So set the next one after you've done one. So say you do one today at 3 o'clock, then you do your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've given yourself half an hour at 3 o'clock today. Then you set the next date. So maybe it's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight. So then if these thoughts come into your mind, you can know that at 8 o'clock you can deal with them then. You don't need to waste those 5 hours between, 4.5 hours between 3:30 and 8 o'clock being concerned with your anxieties, because you've got that half an hour slot at 8 o'clock. And in that time, just give yourself space. So whether you need to go and lock yourself away in the bathroom, sit on your bed and put headphones on, but just to be and let yourself hear those anxieties, because it is so important that your anxiety gets heard. Like I say, it is like a toddler, a pet, something that wants your attention, and the more that you ignore it, the more it's going to prod you for that space. So that's the first tip. I want you to give your anxiety a date. And if you perhaps aren't experiencing that much anxiety but are frustrated, I want you to make sure that you create a routine. So for some of us, Tier 4 has been in place for a while now, so we're kind of getting used to it, I suppose. And I think for all of us, because it's lockdown number 3, it's not like it's the first time that's happened. But what is so important is some element of a routine. Because if you normally go out to work, and maybe you're not allowed to go out to work now, although some work is carrying on, it's all a bit up in the air at the moment, isn't it? You need some level of routine. So even if it is just a couple of things you put in your diary, like going for a walk or reading a book, but rather than just thinking, okay, well, today I'm just going to read and finish this book, set some time aside, as in, okay, at 10 o'clock I'm going to read until 11, and then at 11 I'm going to go for a walk for an hour, and then at 12 I'm going to have lunch. Even if that's all you do in your day, you've got 3 hours where there's something you've set is going to happen. And you'll be surprised at the impact that makes on how you then feel, because you're giving yourself tasks to do. You're giving yourself things to do. There's some meaning to your day. And you'll probably end up finding that you then do more, because in general, busy people do more than if you, I know this is true of me. So if I have loads to do in a day, I will get that and 10 times more done. If I don't really have that much on that day, I will do nothing, because it's not set in the diary. It's not a plan of action for that day. I kind of wander through the day, and you need some days like that as well. But if you're feeling like there's this vast amount of time where we're going to be majority of the time at home and you don't know what to do, give yourself tasks to do. Maybe sort out your wardrobe, or that drawer that's been like that crazy drawer that everyone's got, one of those crazy drawers that has got where does this stuff even come from stuff in it. Maybe sort out that drawer one day. That'll probably take you a little while depending on how big the drawer is. Find all those tasks, the things that you want to learn. So maybe you wanted to learn a new language, a new skill. You wanted to do a course. There's so much going on now. And like I say, this is lockdown 3. So this isn't the first time we've done this. This is becoming a new norm. There are lots of resources that you can turn to entertain yourself. Make the most of the time and fill it with things that you actually want to do. Usually, life is so busy. We have so many things we need to get through in a day. But we don't actually necessarily get to do the things that we want to do. Maybe it is to bake that cake you saw on Bake Off in the summer, or, I don't know, learn Italian, anything. And you think, yeah, I'd love to do that, but work and potentially kids and everything else and your social life means that you just don't have the time. Well, now you have an abundance of time. There's always a way of flipping these experiences. It's not to take away the pain, the literal pain and loss that has come from this really strange time. I mean, who would have known in 2019 that 2020 and 2021 would look like this? We just didn't. But there is also the opportunity to make the most of it, to find other ways to benefit from this time, and giving yourself a routine is definitely one of them. Now, I mean, it depends on you. I like to have variety in my day, so I don't want every Monday to be the same. But maybe you like every Monday to be the same. So make it that every Monday you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Literally write it down in a diary, on your phone, in your diary if you've got one, to give yourself those things to do. If you're looking for something to do next week, so I'm going to be live next week here in the group, 11 a.m. Monday to Thursday, so the 11th to 14th, talking about the 12 laws of the universe. That's going to give you a good half an hour, 45 minutes lesson every single day. So you can put that in your diary as something that you can come and join in and get some interaction, some feedback and some conversation going on, and to learn something new as well. So second thing, keep a routine, create a routine. Now, third thing is to definitely give yourself some self-love. Now, as namby-pamby as kind of like cringe as that might sound, it's so important. It could be anyone that is friends with me on Facebook in general will see that I posted yesterday. So for me, doing my nails is one of those things. I used to love going and having my nails done. I would do it every 2 weeks because it was something I enjoyed. I like having the time with the Mandy, the girl who did my nails, and seeing the creation she would create, because she's a master nail arter, and I loved that process. And then I felt good with my nails done. So as lockdown 1 happened, I then got my own stuff so I can do my nails at home. Okay, they're not as professional, but I kind of enjoy the process. And it is that bit of time that I allocate for myself every couple of weeks to give myself something that I enjoy for no reason. It's not like I'm emptying the dishwasher, doing the washing, ironing. I don't do ironing anyway in general. Cleaning. I'm not doing anything useful. It's got no meaning beyond it's going to make me feel nice. And that's what I want you to do in your routine. I want you to put in some time slots across the week where you're going to do something just for you. So maybe it is learning that language, or having that luxurious bath and reading that book that's been on the bookshelf for like the last 5 years and you've just not got to it yet. Start it. You might find you hate it. That's why you've never read it, but you can at least start it. It's about doing those things just for you because you're giving yourself back. Now more than ever, we need to give ourselves the time, the attention, like the anxiety, give ourselves the time and the attention to feel good. We need to put more into ourselves because in the outside world, everything's going a bit crazy and no one knows what's happening. So our inside worlds, I've got hair in my eyelash, our inside worlds really need to be looked after. And you do that by giving to yourself. Now, if you've got kids at home, you're going to probably be finding that there's not a lot of time to do much at all. Now you're going to be having to homeschool as well, potentially juggling jobs and all of that craziness. But even if it is just literally 5 minutes in the morning, and you've heard me say this before probably, 5 minutes in the morning before everyone gets up, having a cup of tea by yourself, standing outside feeling how freezing cold it is, or watching some TV show that you love and it's your like binge show. I've got into the Housewives of Jersey recently, stuff like that. Let's just binge TV. It's just something to enjoy for the moment, to give to you, so you feel like you've had some of your own time throughout your day, because there is potentially going to be even more constraints on your time because you're expected to do everything for everyone all the time. Is anyone else finding that everything really is just a meal time? It's like you have breakfast and then you clear away, and then it's lunch and then you clear away, and then it's dinner. It's like it's always feeding time in the house. That's what I'm finding. So it's about giving yourself some time, so that by the end of the day, when you're going to sleep, you feel like you've given yourself something. It's so important. Literally 5 minutes will make a difference. So think of something that you can do, or a few things that you can do throughout the week that's going to make you feel good. So like I said about my nails, I'm not going to do them every week. I do them like every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, I put it in my diary. I'm going to do that. That's that time for that. I'm going to learn how to make bath bombs, because I love having baths and I want to make some bath bombs. There's just, I got some drum set. You might have seen before Christmas, I bought myself an early Christmas present, a little electronic drum set so I can plug it in so Marcus doesn't have to listen to it. Unless it's really good, then I'll unplug it. And I'm going to learn the drums. It's about allocating the time, and I'm allocating the time in my diary, because if you don't allocate the time, something else will take over. For me, it will be I'm checking social media, there's messages coming through, I'm responding to people, and I forget. And then I don't do those things for me. And then a week goes by and suddenly 5 days have passed and there's been no me time in that. And me time isn't selfish, it's necessary. We are expected as women, especially, to look after everyone all the time and always be there for everyone. And we naturally probably do that quite easily. However, you still need to be putting into you, because you can easily become depleted of energy and not realize it. Now, some of you might have heard me talk about this, the beautiful water jug and the glasses. I use this a lot during the summer as an analogy. So imagine in front of you the most gorgeous water jug. It's just really pretty. So imagine what it looks like, what the texture of the material it's made out of is like, what color it is, what the handle's like, how big the handle is, how big the jug is. So once you can see the jug, then imagine there's 4 glasses next to the jug. So are they tall, short, fat, thin, coloured glass, clear glass? What are they? Then when you can see all that in your mind's eye, when you can imagine it, I want you to see that the water jug is full of water, like to the brim, full, couldn't be any fuller. And then I want you to imagine picking up that water jug and then distributing the water between those 4 glasses so that all 4 glasses have got some water in. Then look back at the water level. So how much water is in the glasses? Are they full? Was there enough water in the jug? Depending on the size of your jug and the size of your glasses, was there enough water in the jug to fill the glasses? And then how much water is left in that jug? So if 4 people picked up a glass each, drank all the water and put the glasses back down, and you went to fill up their jugs again, would there be enough water to fill them up? Maybe, it depends on the size of your jug. But at least after maybe number 2 round of water, you're going to need to refill that jug so that you can give more water. So the jug is your inner holder of self-love. The water is your self-love. The glasses represent those people that you freely and willingly give love to, potentially every day, if not regularly. And you are constantly giving with love, with intention, with a free flow and abundance. You need to be giving to yourself too. You cannot expect to give water out of that jug unless you fill that jug back up. Now, our self-love, giving to ourselves, the time we need to give is probably minute compared to the time we give to everything else. In a day of only 24 hours and you've got 100 million one things to do, that 5 minutes of having a cuppa by yourself will probably be enough to make you feel full enough to do your day's process, whatever it is you need to do, however much you need to give, whatever you need to get through. You don't necessarily need to give yourself hours and hours and hours. Of course, if you have the time and the desire, do so. But you don't have to. Giving yourself a bit is going to have a magnitude of effect. But you need to give to yourself because you cannot give on an empty jug. That's just a really good way to imagine it in your head. Right, 4th thing I want to give to you. I want you to create an affirmation around how you're feeling. Now, affirmations is the topic of conversation in my VIP group this month because there is an art to it. The key to it is to make it believable for you. So if right now you are feeling really scared because of COVID and this COVID-2 strain and etc., To make an affirmation saying, I'm not scared of COVID, is not going to cut it, because fundamentally you feel scared. So it's not going to work. There needs to be, with an affirmation, the belief behind it. You need to believe in the belief to make the affirmation work. So if you're feeling scared of COVID right now and you want an affirmation to help you manage those sensations, you could make your affirmation something like, I trust in myself to be able to deal with what comes up in my day. It's dealing with the surrounding issues of COVID, that our days are changed, there's uncertainty in the air, we don't know what's happening, but it's making it believable to you, because hopefully you know you can trust in you. And if that doesn't resonate, then you make another affirmation that resonates. You need to make it something that feels like it works for you. If you're stuck on an affirmation, message me, put it in the comments. We can talk it out so you can make one. But affirmations won't work if they fundamentally to you don't feel realistic. So like the example of, I'm not scared of COVID, like I'm going to sort of pretend and play act, and that won't cut it long term. It won't do it. You're not going to feel better, because fundamentally you and it are bashing heads. You don't believe it. You need to make it something that will actually resonate with you, like I trust in myself to deal with whatever comes up in my day. So find an affirmation that will give you the support during this time. Affirmations have been amazing for me in helping me manage my anxiety for different things. You can always create a new affirmation. Like I say, if you're stuck with creating an affirmation, send me a message, drop it in the comments, however you want to do it, to create something that you then repeat to yourself. So an affirmation, you repeat it to yourself a few times every day. The easiest way to remember it to start with is every time you feel the sensation that you're trying to manage, so the fear around COVID in this example, then you repeat the affirmation to yourself. You can say it in your mind, you don't have to say it out loud. And then at least every time you brush your teeth. So you're going to be brushing your teeth at least twice a day. As you're brushing your teeth, repeat it to yourself. The more you repeat it to yourself, when it's an affirmation that resonates, so when you feel like you're connected to it and it makes sense to you and you value it, it will start to sink into your system, and your words and your thoughts create your reality. And that is a whole nother conversation for another time, but they really do. So an affirmation is a positive statement you repeat to yourself to reinforce, to give you support, to give you some groundedness and some security, so that you feel like you can deal with whatever it is you are dealing with. So create an affirmation around how you're feeling right now. And then final tip for today, wow, 22 minutes in, is to ground yourself. So favorite song is always a really easy way to do this. Put on your favorite song, sing at the top of your voice, dance around your living room, and enjoy those 3 minutes of blissful peace to that song. Preferably an upbeat song, not like a really ballads kind of song, because it's not really going to give you the vibe you want. So your favorite upbeat song, play it loud, sing along, dance along. That is going to make you feel grounded in your body in the moment. Getting your feet on natural elements. So sand, mud, there's loads of mud out there, grass, anything that isn't like concrete or like paving, something that's natural. So grass, sand, mud, anything I can think of. Get your feet on them. I know it's cold, but that's a really, really good way to reconnect you with Mother Nature, to make you feel really grounded, to connect you to the planet that we live on, so that you feel like your feet are on the floor. Take your shoes off, take your socks off, walk around barefoot. I hate wearing shoes. I've been like this since a child, and I never knew why, but I hate wearing shoes. Sometimes I wear socks if I'm freezing, but you can tell I'm not a very cold person. I love being barefoot. And I love, not one benefit for me with lockdown is I don't really have to wear shoes that often. It's so nice. So take your shoes off if you've got your shoes on. Be barefoot. Literally be grounded. So your bare feet are connecting to the ground underneath you. Those little things, those little techniques can really support you in feeling more grounded when everything else seems to be going crazy. Because ultimately we need to be able to rely on ourselves to deal with whatever comes up. This whole experience is like an anxious person's worst nightmare. Is everything out of control, everything being really unknown. And the world can feel like that anyway, let alone with a worldwide pandemic and everything changing in the world as we know it. When you know that you can rely on yourself, that you have the strength within you to cope with whatever comes up. There's going to be, for some of you, there's been some horrible experiences over the last year. It's been nearly a year, hasn't it? And you are finding ways to cope. You're probably stronger than you thought. And that is a horrible way of realizing it, but a benefit to understanding that, not a benefit, but you then understand your own strength, your own inner strength, because when you know that you can rely on you, then the world and its craziness isn't that bad anymore. Because there's always going to be crazy stuff going on. This just happens to be particularly crazy right now. And then you know that you can deal with it. You'll find a way of dealing with it. You'll find a way of coping. You'll find a way of adapting. Any of you that have known me for a while know I love to travel. I love having a good few holidays a year. It's one of the main reasons I went self-employed, so that no one could say, no, you can't have that as holiday, please. No, that didn't work for me. So I found a way of making it work. I haven't travelled in the last year nearly, as probably most of us. I didn't go away last summer. I know some people did. And a lot of people at first have said to me, how are you coping? Because you love a holiday. Well, to be honest with you, this is just life right now. I've been blessed in having some amazing holidays, some epic experiences traveling. And I think about that. I'm beneficial. I valued those times. I love those times. And right now, this is the life that we're living. So let's just get on with that. So if you can have that kind of mindset where you bounce back, you find a way of coping, you know you can turn it internally to cope and deal with what's going on. That's where you get your strength. That is where you access the powerful, energetic you, hence the name of this group. That is where you grow as an individual and you can cope and deal with things that are happening around you. So thank you for staying with me for the whole 26 minutes. I did not intend it being that long, but hey, you've got your 5 tips to dealing with COVID lockdown anxiety and staying grounded during this time. Any questions about any of it, please do reach out. If you feel like you need extra support, please do reach out, whether you want to message me, whether you want to comment on this video, however you want to do it. That is what I'm here for. Like I say, next week, if you need something to be doing, but also want to learn something about the laws of the universe. So, for example, law of attraction, karma, we're going to be talking about all of those next week, Monday the 11th to Thursday the 14th, every day at 11 o'clock. I'm guessing it's going to be about half an hour, 45 minutes, because I'm doing 3 laws per day. And we're going to give you little tasks to do to get you to understand those laws and how they are relevant to you as well. That's happening right here in the group from Monday. So that's something you can put in your diary as a routine for next week. Like I say, any questions, any concerns, anyone needing any extra support, please do reach out. I would rather you reach out than suffer alone. It's not nice, I know. Like, any of you that don't know my history, I suffered really badly with anxiety, and it took out a good few years of my life, about 10 years ago now. And then I crawled out of it and found techniques that worked. I got into more holistic health, into spiritual awareness, as in aware of the universe, the laws of the universe, energy, and that all had such a huge impact. That's why I teach what I teach, because I know what it's like to be there, to be that person that is stuck in an anxious state and really, really negative. That was me. And then come out the other side. So there is always a way out. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day. I know it's a weird time, but we will all cope and deal with it. Us humans are very adaptable and flexible, even if we don't feel like we are. We are. Any questions about anything, please do let me know. Have a lovely day, and I will see you on Monday at 11 to start talking about the laws of the universe, to give you some information to go away and start playing with. It'll be very exciting. I'll see you guys then.